and welcome to another episode of FTU Life After the Military. I'm your host, Tony Rodriguez, and today I am joined by Mike. It's a very special day for me because when I started this podcast, I wanted to have Mike on here. He's part of the reason why I have no issue talking about my mental health issues. He's also part of the reason why I decided to pursue my master's degree. Mike is a master of words. He's a lyricist, and he knows how to put word things in the way that people need to hear them to get them to do something. So, Mike, I just want to say thank you very much. Thank you for being on, and thank you for the words of wisdom that you had for me all those years ago. And with that, I just want to pass it over to you.
Well, thank you for the kind words, Tony. I appreciate that. It's always nice to hear when, well, I guess my cat wants to be in the video too. Cat, okay. But he totally blew my concentration. I was like, go away, cat. If that's not like the proverbial cat's in my head. I don't know what I'm doing, Chase. But okay, so Mike Jackson, retired SF medic after almost 27 years. I actually still tell people I got fired because I hit max term of service at 26 years, 11 months, 29 days, and they said, pack your bags, you have to leave. So it was not a choice, but it happened, like it does for all of us. Luckily, my last job on active duty, I was teaching the Special Operations Medical Refresher Course, which has 2 weeks long, which now I teach the Special Forces Medical Sergeant refresher course, which is 3 weeks long. We add surgery and anesthesia into that. But one of the reasons why I used to push, and it's funny because back when I first started teaching the education block, it was in a environmental emergencies class that I started doing like a 15-minute plug for my own, hey, everybody needs to start taking care of themselves, because I was running up to my finish line. And I eventually went to the primary instructor, said, hey, I need 2 hours for this, because it was more and more how to take care of yourself and less environmental emergencies. And I was given a second hour, then it was an hour of actual environmental emergencies. And then I had a whole hour just to impart wisdom on everything I had done wrong that I hoped that nobody else had to do wrong, or at least had to find out what wrong was. And I started teaching this class when I was working on my master's degree. And I didn't realize why I was working on a master's degree until August of 2014, when I went to NICO, the DoD TBI Center, the National Intrepid Center of Excellence, up right across the street from Walter Reed. Phenomenal place. Best medical care ever had. But I found out that the more I studied and learned and read, the less my TBI issues affected me, which would always spiral into other mental health issues. And as long as I was keeping my brain, I used to tell people, it's like working out at the gym. Your muscles get big and strong. Well, for me, learning and reading and stuff is like working my brain muscle, and it helps me let me have less issues, mental health issues. It keeps them a little more in check, because I give them something to worry about, thinking, learning, rather than driving in neutral when they just run amok and everything else. But
Yeah, no, so I totally understand, because so I took this like a boot camp for data analysis, right? So I could learn how to program in Python. It can be very frustrating, but when I figure it out, it's so rewarding. It's so much fun when you figure out like what you did wrong and programming. So, I've always been a nerd. I was a nerd when I was a kid. I was a nerd in college, in the military. I'm still a nerd. That's what I do. That relaxes me, is learning.
do you find that you have less issues when you're putting something constructive in your head?
Yeah, I mean, it keeps my mind occupied, and I'm not thinking on other things.
Yes.
So I have this issue where, and I found out. I think one of my sisters has this issue as well. It's not. This isn't from the military, but I dwell on things from not just my time in the military, but I remember mistakes I made as a kid, and I dwell on that. And so, learning, just reading, listening to, watching movies in a different language, so trying to focus to understand what they're saying, it it relaxes me, and it lets my mind, even though I'm focused on something, my mind can just relax.
Yes. And I'm kind of in a dead space right now because I did a graduate certificate in 2020 on chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear defense, which was scary but amazing. Uh, but that was a long time ago. I've actually started studying Arabic again. After having a foundation for all the years on active duty, it was just, yeah, put myself into something learning mode again. So,
Yeah. So let's see if I can move this. You can see I have three guitars back there, uh, two
nice.
acoustic, a 6 string, a 12 string, and then an electric. And so I'll play those every once in a while. I know I'm never going to be Eric Clapton or Eddie Van Halen.
Was that you on
Um,
the intro?
I wish, I wish. So that theme music was when I was growing up. I was my favorite wrestler was Sting, right?
Hmm.
The wrestler Sting. That was his intro music. I used to
Okay.
listen to that every time I would leave the wire
Nice.
because that would like I can't punk out, right? Sting
Yeah.
wouldn't punk out, so I'm not going to punk out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Get
so,
it. It
so
sounded familiar. I just couldn't
yeah,
place it. You said
yeah,
Sting. It was like, yep, that's
yeah.
it.
And so, I love that song. And, before, like in the military, I was like, yeah, I'd never liked wrestling. It's like, yeah, I love wrestling.
Yeah.
Watch it. I watch it all the time. I watch it with my granddaughter. We still watch it. Like, so
Yeah.
what? I'm
It's
going to do what I
entertaining.
want
It's
to do now.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I
And
think that one of the things, if you do your military career correctly, is to set your post-military career up correctly, which puts you in a situation where you can have fun. You can enjoy things you didn't used to enjoy relaxingly. I know it's not a real word, but I like to use words that don't make anybody else's sense to me.
yeah, no, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, yeah. So don't have any grandkids yet, but yeah. So just visited my daughter a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I took. Yeah, so family important.
Yeah. And like we were talking before we started, my kids are grown. They moved out. So
Hmm.
we moved up to Fuquay. We have this big house. It's a three-bedroom house and have an office. And because my wife wanted it, once we moved in, I realized this is way too much house. But that's fine because that's what she wanted, and she kept our family together when there were times when I was falling apart.
Hmm.
I was hanging on by my fingertips,
Absolutely.
and so yeah. Do we need this house? No, not at all. I wanted to sell the other house and move to Hawaii and just live on the beach.
Yeah.
She did not want to do that, so that's fine. We'll live here. I, I'm fine with living in Fuquay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice up there. It's far enough away from work to be away from work. It's also close enough to everything else to be close to everything else.
Yeah, like I said, I like to go to concerts. When is it? About 2 weeks from now, Tesla's playing up at the Durham
Oh,
Performing Arts Center, so we're gonna go watch, right?
nice.
But
Nice.
again, I got the seats at the end of the aisle.
Yeah.
So when I need to take a break, I can. All right, I'm gonna go take a 5 minute break. I'll be back.
Yeah. Last May, I went to the House of Blues and to watch Ailstorm was the headliner, and to also watch Glory Hammer, their alter ego band or whatever. But I got the VIP seats because it was small table, 4 chairs, and it was cordoned off from everybody else. So they were still there, but they were outside of arm's reach. So a space, and it was right on the end, so I could get up and walk away. And yeah, that's what's important.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we should be able to enjoy the things that we want to enjoy, but also make sure that we don't lose our minds and ruin somebody else's time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
So, which is very important. Which I think is an extra level of understanding, is understanding that our actions may impact somebody else's reactions. And too many people nowadays just don't think of everybody else. It's like, look, you're not the only person driving on the road. Maybe you should actually not stop in the middle of the road just to do something stupid. Yeah. You know.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I dealt with one of those coming home right now. It's like, all right, bro, you want to drive at 35 miles an hour and the speed limit's 55? Sure,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of angry people behind me, but sure,
Yeah.
I get what you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, but tolerance is also therapy. Yeah. I mean, because what do you gain from getting all fired up? Nothing. You just
Yeah.
high blood pressure. I mean,
First thing that popped in my mind is I should pit this guy.
yeah,
I should
yeah,
just pit him. I can do it, no damage to my car, and he'll just be off on the side of the road. It's like,
yeah,
or how about I just take a deep breath, buddy?
yeah, yeah. My favorite thing is in a calm voice now, go like, man, I feel bad that your turn signal doesn't work when you drive, you know, because screaming at him or just saying something in a normal voice, huge difference, huge difference. Because
Yeah.
your mental health is a finite thing. If you use it all up in the wrong directions, you just have less and less and less and less of it. Save it for the good things.
So I was, talking to a couple of people that I knew in the military, right? And the one thing I liked when I left is I I was lucky enough when I was in the military. I knew who my friends were, and I knew who were just coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a distinction, and a lot of people in the military
Absolutely.
don't understand that. They don't like just because you guys work in the same building or you're in the same unit does not mean you're friends.
Right.
It's not kindergarten.
Yes.
Right? But I had some of them telling me it's like, I just seem so much happier. It's like, well, one, I am, but also on the days that I seemed grouchy or upset, did you guys ever stop to think that maybe I was doing everything I can to be as happy as I could on that day? That is as happy as I could be on that day.
Yeah.
You saw me as miserable, but I was doing the best I could to be happy.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean? It's like, you'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
It's like, you'll
There's
see what
certain
I'm
things
talking about.
you can't explain things in enough detail to let some people understand things, unfortunately. And unfortunately, mental health is one of those things.
Yeah. And so again, that's why part of the reason why I started this podcast, because there's a stigma about talking about mental health issues. Again,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't run out to people on the streets like, hey, I have anxiety and PTSD.
Yeah.
But people that were wounded in combat, if they were shot, they're thanked. It's like, oh, well, thank you for your service. It's like they can tell the story and you're brave, you're awesome. Or if you broke your arm or in a jump, even if it was in combat, it was a jump. It's like, wow, he troopered through. But if you say like, man, I was dealing with the stuff in my head, it's like, oh, well, you're just a bitch.
Yes.
Or maybe I'm just a person and I'm doing the best I can. And now I don't have a problem talking about it
Exactly.
because I'm not worried about not getting that promotion or being sent
Keeping my
away to.
security clearance back in the day, those things.
So in civil affairs, the worst thing they could do to you was they would put you on orders to Fort Riley.
What was it, Fort Riley?
That was a dead zone. You knew if you were going to Fort Riley, your career was done.
Oh, okay.
That was like the unwritten rule. Nobody wanted to acknowledge that, but they're like, yeah, oh, damn, bro, I got orders to Fort Riley. It's like, You got to get out of it. Get out of it
Yeah.
any way you can.
Uh, and I think very few books and movies actually portray military mental health correctly. It's just hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, because people that I've talked to that weren't in the military, like I've mentioned it with some of the people in my cohort in my PhD program, and they think like I'm like, what is it, from Full Metal Jacket,
Yeah,
it was Private Piles,
yeah,
It's like, no, 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 it's not like that. It's like, are you
yeah,
sure? It's like, yeah, like don't worry about it, guys. It's not at
yeah,
that level. Like,
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
need to call anybody, or I
yeah,
don't I don't need to be tackled down and put in a straitjacket. Like,
yeah.
no,
I don't need a health and
it's all
welfare
right.
inspection. Yeah,
Yeah. But that's
but
a perception that they have.
it is. It is because it's not well portrayed. I mean, it's a not a myth, not what I'm trying to think of. It's a bad stigmata from certain movies, of the 0.0001 percenters. Was there ever a Private Pile? There probably was. He probably just wasn't a mythical character. And unfortunately, there probably was one, but he's not all of us, you know? So,
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, it just wouldn't make for great cinema if they showed like the actual true problems.
absolutely. And I understand that movies are entertainments, TV's
Yeah. Yeah.
entertainments, and they
Yeah.
have to sell stuff to make money to make entertainment. And real life military mental health problems. And I do, well, let me finish saying that aren't entertaining. But I also understand that military mental health problems and regular and non-military mental health problems, there's a lot of similarities. There's some differences. I think the catalyst is different in the military, but it could be the same problems.
Yeah. Yeah, it can. So I know there's a lot of programs for military members, like to
Hmm.
get assistance. And there's a lot of people who say that they support the military, and um, again, my dissertation topic is a comparative analysis of the United States and Colombia, the factors that lead um, veterans to join extremist groups, right? Some of the research I did found that, yeah, the population lies, right? I lie. Everybody
Yeah,
lies.
we all lie.
And so you say, yeah, we support the military. Well, what does that really mean? In what manner? What capacity?
Yeah,
I mean, you bought me a latte at Starbucks.
yeah,
Thanks. I
yeah,
appreciate it. But, so yeah, I mean, even though there's all these programs out there, veterans are hard headed. A lot of veterans don't want to admit there's something going on. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. So how do you make
because
that
admitting there's something
connection?
wrong is a symbol of weakness inside the military.
Yeah. But how do you get that person to go?
Yeah,
I I don't know. Us talking about it, maybe just normal people saying, yeah, veterans, I understand they might have something going on, and it's okay if they go get help.
yeah,
Because I don't remember hearing any advertisements or anything. The only advertisements I hear about are, hey, if you're thinking about hurting yourself, call this number.
yeah.
Well, that's
Call a crisis line.
it's kind of late, bro.
Yes, unfortunately, that's way late.
Yeah. Or the people, and God bless them, but your 22 push-ups a day really aren't helping me out, bro. You're jacked,
Exactly.
and I'm happy
Yeah.
that you're jacked, but it's not really
Yeah,
doing anything for me.
yeah. You've increased your health,
Yeah.
but not it helped my mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think people just talking about it and being open about it. Like,
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, and most of my mental health issues have the catalysts are all traumatic brain injuries, being blown up. Been blown up in Somalia back in 92, 93 a couple times, blown up in Iraq multiple times, multiple different Iraqs. Um, One time I was really close to an explosion, first and second degree burns over my entire face. Uh, yeah, I mean, but that's a catalyst. Other mental health issues have uh, reared their ugly head because of that and other things. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did an episode this weekend with my friend Tim. We were in the 82nd together. I was telling
Nice.
him, it's like, you don't understand. Like, Mike's been through a lot of stuff, man. Like, he's been through a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. It's like, I was telling Tim, it's like, once I went to civil affairs, I got blown up a few times, right, with IEDs and RPGs. It's like,
Yeah.
I know Mike went through more. It's like, but I know neither of us are in a competition to say that we're the champion of PTSD.
100% agree.
Nobody wants that title.
Yeah. Nobody wants to win the gold medal in that.
Yeah. So I've heard people say like, well, my PTSD is worse. It's like, okay.
Yeah. If
like,
that makes you feel better,
yeah.
sure.
And I don't care if you were a cook and you went out and you never left the farm.
Yeah.
If you have something that's bothering you, like, talk about it. So what?
Talk about it. Yeah.
Like, we're done. Like, there's no more competition. You're not going to get a medal for like, well, I have the greatest amount of PTSD, so I'm going to
Yes.
get the biggest medal. Like, who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's not a promotion thing. It's not a promoting yourself in life thing. Like get your little ticks on the wall. I have this many explosions under my belt. I wish I didn't have any. Not more.
I remember when I joined the military, we were joking around. It's like, man, I hope I can get out of the military with just the Army service ribbon, nothing else.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, hey, you got this medal for being blown up. Well, I really don't care.
Yeah,
Really don't want to talk about it.
yeah, it's okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
But the big thing is, like you said, talking about it. You need to talk about it with the right person. I mean, probably not the bartender, even though they might have a great ear, but that's probably the bad location, bad reason, bad variables to be trying to discuss your mental health problems. And it doesn't matter to me if it's a friend, a licensed provider, medical provider, licensed, behavioral health provider. Talk to somebody that understands you, that you can freely talk to and know they understand what you're saying. Maybe not the specific incidents or the specific issue, but they understand. And they can just help you talk it out. Because a lot of times just being able to talk it out is a solution.
yeah, and don't be afraid to try different treatments. Like if
Absolutely.
so I went to group treatment, and I used to drink. I don't drink anymore. I haven't had a drink since like 2015.
Congrats.
Thanks. And I realized, yeah, I actually feel better. But when I went to group therapy, there were people in there talking about like, I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is I reach over before I open my eyes. I reach for the bottle of Jack. It's like, this is intense.
Yeah.
And it made me deny that I even had problems, because like, man, I'm not doing that.
I'm not that bad.
I
Yeah.
was like, I must be all right.
On my worst day, I wasn't that bad. Yeah.
And so I went and saw, I mentioned her on here before, Tracy. She had me do some stuff, and, during her sessions, yeah, she made me cry.
Yeah.
But I feel better.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to try different things. Like
is.
It's not one thing that's going to work for everyone.
While I was on active duty, I was a big proponent, actually, and right after I retired, of the stellate ganglion block. But WOMAC no longer gives it to retirees. TRICARE doesn't fund it for retirees. The VA doesn't do it. So that treatment plan, my ace in the hole, is no longer an option. It hasn't been an option for several years. So I have to find other ways. So, yeah.
Yeah, I knew a couple of guys who went and tried that after they went to refresher and they heard you talk about it.
Good, good.
And they swore about it. They said the first shot, man, you get it, and you go to sleep and you sleep for like 24 hours, man.
Yep,
It's the best sleep of your life.
yep. And even after the shot, I mean, the probably the shortest efficacy I had from it was like 3 weeks, but the longest is almost 3 months, and it was like better sleep, better cognition, laser focus. Everything just moved slow enough where I could keep track of it. It wasn't just like a bag of cats running around. So, yeah,
Yeah.
if they
So
start opening it back up, I will absolutely get back on that. But right now, it's not an option.
so I always, because I had a drinking problem, and I
Hmm.
mean, you can't get addicted to that. But for me, I always wanted to I got to find something else, a
Yeah,
different way. So talking about it, I love to run. My shoulders need to be replaced, my hip needs to be replaced. So I'm not trying to run like Prefontaine anymore and drop like the 4 minute miles. You know,
yeah,
just go out for a jog, and 2 miles is fine. And I'm not trying to get ready for the ACFT or the APFT or whatever new soft. What was that
yeah.
crazy one that pull ups and
UBRR.
yeah, that craziness. None of that. Just go out for a jog,
Yeah,
listen to Rush, and just enjoy the day.
yeah, yeah.
And that
I
helps
did
me
a
out.
Yeah, it does. Jogging was one of my things too, but I did a 10K, the Green Beret Jingle Jog last December,
Yeah.
and I didn't prep for the 10K. Just jog here, jog there. Yeah, 10K is not that much. I'm pretty sure I was the last person across the finish line, but my knee was jacked up for months afterwards. It's just now getting to where I can get back out there and jog slowly again. But yeah, so again, something took one of my tools away from me, so I had to figure something else out. So
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I go run, I have that. What's that tape? The support tape, the athletic tape.
KT,
Yeah, the key to I tape up my left shoulder, my back. I have it on my
yeah,
knee. It looks ridiculous, right? I bought some of
it,
those tights, those running pants, those supportive
yeah,
tights
it
to help
works.
my knees. Yeah, it's like I look ridiculous, and I don't
Oh
care.
yeah, yeah. I wear two major uh, external framed knee braces, and anybody watching me run is probably like, "Why the hell is that guy running? He looks like he's broke." Well, they're right, but yeah,
Yeah,
he's also not that bright. Needs to get some fresh air.
yeah, and so I know it doesn't look like it, but so another thing that I went and I did this January is when I went. So I had a beautiful hair, right? In the military, I blame the military for it, right? It cost my hair.
I do too.
Yeah, worrying about the lawn, because somebody has to mow that lawn, right?
Oh yeah,
Got to get that guy to dental, right? He's red, better get him to dental. And so I went to Bosley to get some hair transplants, right?
uh huh.
And I know it doesn't look like it, but they actually took hair on the side and the back. They said, "You are like one of the worst people to come in here for this treatment." And it's like, because the majority of your hair is gone on the top of your head.
Yeah,
And the donor part, it's like, it's not very good. It's like, we
yeah.
need three, they said 3,000 grafts to cover your head.
Oh
And
wow.
the doc was honest. It's like, I'm gonna be lucky if I can get 1,500.
Yeah,
And it's like, okay. It's like, well, let's do it. And it's like, are you sure? It's like, doc, partially bald is better than completely bald.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like, so yeah, I was like, let's do it. And they were able to like get 2,000 out. They put them in. She said, we're going to put them in. They're going to fall out, and it'll take about another 6 months for it to grow back in. It's like, but about July time, you should be good to go. It's like, okay.
yeah,
And my wife's like, why are you doing that if you can't cover your head? It's like, don't worry about it. And it's like,
yeah,
I'm paying for it. It's something I want to do for me, you know?
yeah, yeah.
And
And you
it's
have to.
different.
It is, but having the realization that sometimes you need to do stuff for yourself, and nobody else is going to understand, and you need to do it.
Yeah, I've had people like still work there at Fort Liberty. They're like, man, that looks like crap. It's like,
I
do I
didn't
know
do it for
you?
you. Yeah.
It's like, no offense, but why are we talking?
Yeah, exactly.
And
I
it's
didn't
not to
do it
be
so we could
mean,
get.
but
I got
everybody in
you.
the military feels like they're just like, yeah, I'm going to give you my opinion. It's like I didn't really ask for it.
Yeah, I'm okay with you not giving it to me because I'm not going to listen anyway.
Yeah. And I think working with the people I work with, because I worked with several people who were never in the military,
Hmm.
right? And so this is like their first exposure to the military, realizing that on the outside, oh, there's some things that I don't have to put up with. Oh, I don't have to tolerate that. Oh, I people can't just come in here and curse at me. No, it's like it, it blew my mind.
Yeah,
But I feel
yeah,
so much better because like when I ask people, could you please leave my office because we can try again tomorrow when you come in here
yeah,
and speak like a normal person.
yeah, yeah. It's called adulting.
But you don't realize it, especially if you do 20 years, because you don't realize it because you haven't experienced it in 2 decades.
Yeah, you're not indoctrinated anymore. You're not drinking the Kool-Aid. You're like taking baths in the Kool-Aid. You're like
Yeah.
it's so deep, it's part of you. It's way past indoctrination. It's way past Stockholm syndrome.
I,
Maybe I'll get my PhD and do military versus Stockholm syndrome, the similarities.
so I'm a big Star Trek fan. I was trying to tell people it's like I'm Captain Picard and I was captured by the Borg.
Yeah, yeah,
And now normal society is trying to deborg me and make me a normal person again.
yeah. After I was already assimilated, yes,
Yeah.
they're trying to re-unassimilate me. I gotcha. Yeah,
And so yeah, I
that
mean
that's a great
it's been
analogy, though.
yeah, it is right. I mean,
Yeah,
and
because the military is a relative short time of your life. I
Mhm.
mean, and the Borg only had him for a little bit, and yeah, it was deep. He had issues afterwards
Yeah,
for
and
like a whole season.
there's still things that I see. It's like, hey, it's like no, I don't have to worry about that. Let's just turn around and walk away.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I
you
still
know,
find myself doing, simple NCO things like if I'm walking and I see a piece of trash laying on the ground, I pick it up, put it in my pocket. I mean, just because
yeah,
that's zero effort. It takes nothing off of nobody. I'm not doing it, so I'm not making looking around like I hope somebody sees me picking up this piece of stray trash that I didn't put there. It's just like it's just you're lazy. Whoever left it there, but I don't have to be okay with laziness. But
yeah. For me, it's a little bit of my OCD. Yeah, trash. I'll pick it up.
yes,
Like
yes, I
it's fine
would say
because
it's probably
it
more OCD than anything else,
yeah
Tony.
it bothers me if I walk by. It's like I left that trash. I got to go pick it up.
Yeah, I try to
So
walk on the
yeah,
sidewalks, not on the grass. It's little things. Well, maybe that's indoctrination, but still.
I intentionally walk on the grass now to make myself get used to it.
that 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 is a great point. I'm
Because
going to start that tomorrow.
I
Yeah.
was doing that. I was like, well, I got to stand on the sidewalk.
Yep.
You know what? No, I'm going to walk across this grass because I
Yes.
can.
Because I can. I earned it. I swear I'm going to start doing that tomorrow.
So it's just small things, just to live my life, be a better
Yeah.
father, be a better husband, just trying to be a better
Yeah.
person.
Right now, my two big things are being a better cat and turtle dad and being a better father. Those are my big things. I got 3 cats and 2 turtles, and they only don't kill me because I have an opposable thumb and I can get the food. I mean, other than that, they'd have killed me a long time ago because they're cats and turtles.
Yeah, my daughter keeps asking for a dog, and she wants to keep it here. So I watch it while she's off in college, and
Yeah.
she's going to go to graduate school. So you keep it there, and you still watch it. It's like, yeah, I don't think so, buddy.
Yeah.
You're my daughter. I love you, but like, yeah, I'm not taking care of a dog. If I
Yeah.
want to get in my car and just drive across the country, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and that's where we were talking about freedom earlier, and yeah, and these aren't tortoises, so they don't last like 100 years, but yeah, we'll see. I like my freedom too. So cats are a little better. I
Yeah.
can put extra litter boxes out, put extra food, put extra water, and they'll just knock stuff off the things, and I'll come back and clean up the messes, and they're still alive. Turtles
They
need a
they,
little
ha-
more care.
they have the automatic feeders, right?
I do. I have
Yeah.
two of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I have a
every so often,
coworker
oh,
leaving
go
for
ahead.
a month. I have a coworker leaving for a month, and she has a cat. I said, well, just use automatic feeder. It's like, well, that's too long. They need companionship. They need. It's like, well, I'm not watching your cat. Like, I'm not going over to like talk to your cat and have deep conversations with this thing. Like, it's like you need to like put it in boarding or something because
Yeah, I'm pretty
I'm just
sure if there was a camera up in their house or
yeah,
my house, you would see my cat sleeping on everything 25 hours a day that I
yeah,
wasn't here, and they'd be fine.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm happy that she cares about something because
yeah, yeah. That's important too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But had a few people who just again getting back to this podcast and why I started it. I've had some people I know some people who just retired and moved like they were like Bruce Banner, like the Hulk, right?
oh yeah,
And just moved off into the desert, went off the grid, and they're not harming anyone. They're just living their life out somewhere in the Southwest.
yeah,
And more power to you, bro. Like, but I've had other people who have, I don't know, they're just, I can see them spiraling, right? And trying to reach out, trying to help them, talk to them, but it's just getting worse. And so, how much do I do? How much do I assist them? What do I call the police? Even the police, like, oh, they're alive.
yeah. They're not going to do anything.
We can't check on
Yeah,
them every 15 minutes.
yeah.
It's like,
And I think
how do you do that? What do you do with
I
someone
think
like that?
the best answer there is to keep reaching out, because sooner or later they're going to get to their wits' edge and they're going to start grasping for straws, and that first straw may be your hand and for help. I mean, I would think that grasping for straws happens before things get worse. I mean, that's what I did. I mean, I'm not saying I did the right thing because I didn't, but once I started spiraling out of control, once I saw the edge in front of me and nowhere else to go, it's like, okay, maybe I should talk to all these people that have been trying to talk to me for years, and it worked.
Yeah, and so there's somebody that was on my team previously, and so there's two of us. We reach out to him, but we had this discussion. It's like we keep reaching out, but we also have to be careful, like how much we reach out, how much because then it takes a toll on us,
Yes,
and we start
exactly.
spiraling down.
Yeah, yeah. And don't get me wrong, I love the outdoors. And Haley went to school at NC State, so when she was going to college, I was here, and then she started her military career, and I was already established. So I had no, all of the lines didn't line up at the same time where when she left, I could leave. I mean, I would love to live in a cabin in the mountains by myself, very little uh, outside anything, just me and nature. That would be that's a happy day for me. I would love that. But I also wouldn't want to abandon all my friends just because, I mean, I'm not a social butterfly like my daughter is, but I like being with some of my buddies too.
Yeah, yeah, I do too. I also like going and playing golf completely just by myself.
Nice.
And I do that. I put my headphones on. Like I said before, my shoulders are shot. So
Yeah.
my golf game has actually improved because I can't overpower the ball.
Oh, okay.
So it just goes straight now.
Really?
Now it only goes. I'm using the super duper, tailor-made driver in the air for 100 yards, and then it bounces another 50, and that's it. So with my driver,
But you're
I'm
okay
only
with
hitting.
that.
Yeah, it's like who cares? It's my score is actually lower because I stay straight on the green.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And I thought about taking up golf, but golfing was one of the things that my dad and my younger brother we used to do together. And Dad's not with us no more, so I mean, if I lived close to my younger brother, I could see myself golfing with him. But it was more of a family thing than anything else. So
so I took it up. My parents were, immigrated here from Mexico, and they always, they didn't know very much about their education was like very limited, right? You tell
hmm
people it's like, how could my father help me with calculus when he had a sixth grade education from Mexico? The man could
exactly.
barely write his name, right?
Yeah,
I don't know how he made it in this country because he could say yes, thank you, and that was
yeah.
it. That was the limit of
I'm
his
willing to bet
English.
he did it because he was a hard worker. Because
Yeah, he's a hard worker, and so, but they would always tell us, it's like, hey, go to school, be a doctor and a lawyer, because that's all they knew.
yep,
And playing golf was kind of one of the ways of like just letting my parents know they're both passed away. It's like, so wherever they're looking down for me, on me from heaven, it's like, hey, we're doing all right. We know we're not, rich. We're not the Vanderbilts,
right.
but we're all right. We're doing
Yeah,
okay. I have time to go play golf during the work week.
yeah.
You
Which is
know,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
But finding that
it's
happy place, that's important thing.
yeah, it's a
Whether
little
it's
snooty,
camping,
but what are you gonna
yeah.
do?
Well, I mean, it is what it is, though. I mean, what's the difference with that and camping? You're just in the woods in a tent with the fireplace by yourself. I mean, or you're swinging a club by yourself. It's yeah. Put it in perspective. Whoever's says it's snooty. I mean, okay, you made it snooty
Yeah,
because you said it was
yeah.
snooty. I didn't make it snooty because I liked it.
So, well, yeah, that's true because I used to play out in Hope Mills, and some of the guys out there they would have their show up with their own golf carts,
Oh, okay,
right? Because the houses that were there, they would just have the golf carts and they would drive them
right,
up there, but
yeah.
they had like 4x4 golf carts. It's like, what is this?
It's a monster truck and a golf
Yeah.
cart all at the same time.
And so, yeah, you're definitely right. Uh, so the other thing, one of the things I wanted to talk about, Mike, is
Mhm.
I remember being in your small group when you were in
Refresher.
softness and
hmm
refresher, right? I remember one of the first things we did when we sat down in your group, you played Iron Maiden. I think you played Iron Maiden,
hmm
and I think you asked us all like, "Who is this?" And there were 8 of us, right? And I was the only one
Yeah,
that knew it was Iron Maiden.
yeah,
And I remember the words like, "How does the Mexican know this is Iron Maiden, but all you white guys don't have a clue who this is?"
yeah. That sounds something exactly like I would have said it too.
But no, that was perfect because I got that from everyone
Oh
because
yeah.
I grew up listening to heavy metal because
hmm
In East Los Angeles you either listen to heavy metal or you listen to the new wave music, right? The
Yeah,
Cure, the Smiths, stuff like that.
yeah.
I was a heavy metal kid, and I found out in my life that just liking heavy metal uh, helped me out because I was socially awkward, right?
Yes.
And just saying, yeah, I love Ozzy Osbourne. You had to pick the right metal, right? You had to figure out
Yeah.
like, are these the glam metal guys, or are these like the hardcore metal? You know,
But I
which
remember. Go
I
ahead.
would get like, why do you like the glam metal bands? It's like, no offense, guys, but have you seen the girls that go to the hardcore metal concerts?
Versus the glam metal. But
The girls
yes.
that go to the glam, it's like they're like
Yes,
It's okay to like both, guys. It's okay.
it is. Different caliber. Yes. But when I was going through my major problems before I went to NICO in 2014, I actually thought that listening to classical music would keep me calm, and bought a couple CDs, had them in my Jeep Cherokee, going back and forth to work and what have you, and I just couldn't relate to classical music. It didn't calm me. It confused me more than anything else because it was just apples and lead pipes different to heavy metal. And then I, pulled those CDs out after a while, put heavy metal back in, and life actually got calmer listening to heavy metal than classical because it's what I knew. So 100% I get it.
Yeah. So yeah, I bought a turntable. I have it back here, and I
I
bought
saw that.
bought some Rush albums and play that. I have a what's his name, Eric Johnson, because I love the way he plays guitar,
Oh yeah.
and I
Yeah.
have some ACDC. Just decided that they were going to release all their studio albums out on vinyl,
Nice.
so I'm going to buy all of those and just that was
Yeah.
like one of the first bands that my daughter heard. It was ACDC.
ACDC. Yeah.
Their last concert, we drove up to DC so she could see them because I wanted to make sure she saw them. Because I don't know
Yeah.
how many times they're going to tour again.
Yeah. They're getting old. They are.
Yeah.
But
So
I got like probably 1,400 CDs. But I've actually done a lot of research probably in the last 4 months about turntables because I hear the quality of music is so much better. And you don't have to dump $1,000 into a good turntable to get good quality music. So it's on my horizon. I might not switch completely over, but I'm definitely going to have some good stuff on there. Yeah.
and I like this one because it's a turntable, but I can hook up a Bluetooth speaker to it.
Oh, nice.
So I don't have to have like the big speakers and have a nice little small speaker, and it doesn't take up too much room.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, I'm a large frat boy. I just have a whole house to me and three cats and two
Yeah.
turtles. So I have a huge TV and a huge sound system because I like to feel my movies and music and stuff. And because deep inside, I'm still a 13-year-old kid who heard Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath for the first time, going like, "Where have you been for the first 13 years of my
Yeah.
life?" But and the
Yeah.
other thing I do is I watch. I use the streaming Pluto TV. They
Yeah.
have a Godzilla channel, so if it's not heavy metal playing, it's a it's a Godzilla monster movie on for background music or background noise.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally get it because I love watching the South Park episodes. They're ridiculous, right? But I love the character Butters. I just love watching Butters.
Yeah,
And my wife is like, "Why do you watch that garbage?" It's like, "What you have something you want to watch? We have like 5 televisions in the house. Like,
yeah,
you can't watch one of the other 4.
yeah,
It's like or on your phone or your iPad or
or
how you can
anything
go
else.
watch television on our refrigerator now." It's
Yeah,
like, like me watching South Park in the room's bothering you. It's like, yeah, never mind. I don't care.
yeah.
But I like watching it
And
because I still find it funny.
not only that, I was going to say the reason why I watch the Godzilla movies is because it puts my brain in a neutral state, in a state where I don't have to think about the day, about what's coming up, nothing. All I can do is just go and just be there,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes having the brain in neutral is the best thing for me.
I found that was the hardest with transitioning of
Yes.
just my blood pressure actually went up for a while
Mm-hmm.
because I felt like I was missing something. Like,
Missing a purpose, not doing enough, a whole bunch of stuff that Uncle Sam indoctrinated you that said you have to constantly do this,
or well, like I had forgotten something important. It's like, I know there's something I'm supposed to do. What is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was driving me nuts.
Yeah.
So again, so this podcast, So I turned it into an LLC because it's helped me with my taxes, right? Because
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much my taxes were going to go up once I got out.
Yeah.
So
Going
this
from
is,
one job to two jobs
yeah,
actually increasing. Yeah.
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 And that BAH, tax free, right? Tax free
Yeah.
BAH. No more of that.
Nope.
So this LLC helps me out quite a bit. But when I started, it started becoming too much. So I did it for 4 months and it was like, this is turning into a job. And now I'm getting really annoyed
Yes.
because when I have guests on, people are doing this for free. So I'm going to work around your schedule, right?
Yeah.
So I was driving out to people's houses. I was doing it on my lunch break at work. I would set up at the PX in my car,
Yeah.
use my phone as a Wi-Fi hub, and it was like this is too much.
Yeah.
So I scaled it back, and if I can get guests on, I can, but I'm not as proactive as I was in those first 4 months because
Yeah.
I was going to punch something or someone
Yeah.
if I kept going
But
at that pace.
that's your military upbringing. Push, go, work hard,
Yeah,
must make the green machine move forward faster. Yeah.
yeah, and lo and behold, the podcast is still here, and
Yeah. And the
now
green machine's still moving. Someone
yeah,
else is
and
just pushing it.
people, and that's the best part because people ask me, "Hey, man, did you hear about this realignment?" It's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, it would be unfair of me to have an opinion because I just don't care.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, so, uh, good luck, bon chance. I don't know what you want me to say. It's like, but
Yeah.
is it going to affect my job? No.
No.
Then I don't want to say anything because I just don't generally care.
Yeah. 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 I gotcha.
And so,
It's like SEER school. Get back in your circle.
SEER school, whew,
Yeah.
good weight loss program.
Yeah. I lost 29 pounds. I was an SRE,
Oh,
and it was the last course of the Q course. So I walked across the stage with two black eyes and a broken nose. Proud, like I'm out. Let's go. I need to get away from here.
the funny thing is, I like my coworkers. They teach psyop and civil affairs people, right?
Mhm.
And so they have questions about the training and this and that, and
Yeah.
they'll hear about SEER, and I'll tell them like, yeah, this happened and that happened because they're never going to go, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, do they really do that? It's like, yeah, yeah. You learn a lot about yourself. It's like most people learn that they're kind of a coward. It's like having that weapon makes you pretty brave, man. And
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
that first slap comes, it's like, yeah, never mind. I don't want any part of this. Like, you take it, bro.
Yeah.
Like you be in
Luckily, with a
charge.
name like Michael Jackson, I learned how to get my ass kicked a lot when I was growing up. So a slap or so was easy. But I remember day one, we were in the little classroom, but we were doing our didactic stuff. And one of the instructors came in and we doing a deep dive on you. We're going to do searches on you. We're going to have every information on you. And I just started laughing. He's like, "What's so funny?" I was like, "Yeah, look up Michael Jackson. How far down do you got to go to find this guy?" And that's when the slaps start. And I was like, "Oh, okay. I thought this was didactic day. No, I guess it's slap day. Start one." I earned it. I'll take it.
So they looked for me, right? Antonio Rodriguez. It's like, good luck with that, buddy.
Exactly.
They're
exactly.
like, the first 2 hits, it's a mass murderer and some drug dealer from South America. They're like, yeah, we didn't have the time to look for you.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to.
I didn't think you were going to find anything anyway. You just said that to make yourself feel better, not me.
I was like, guys, every time I come back from South America, I get stopped at the Miami airport. Sir, you need to come to the back. We need to talk to you. Okay.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
It's like, you guys see I have an official passport, right? It's like, we still need to talk to you. Well, sure,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, okay.
So, so Mike, we're going on about like 55 minutes here.
Hmm.
We always leave a portion of the podcast for shout outs if you want to shout out anyone, or if there's anything that you want to promote, any businesses or any other programs that you thought might have been beneficial to you. And it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah,
This is a podcast, so there's no limits to it
I
and
would
no
say
restrictions.
if you find yourself beginning of your career, middle of your career, end of your career, and you're having a hard time just doing it, and you need to talk, give me a call. I'd say text me first because I don't answer numbers I don't recommend. So text me 910-644-6801. Hey, Mike, I heard you're on the podcast. You got some time to talk? Yes, yes is going to be the answer. So find somebody you can talk to that can relate to you, that has maybe sat in your shoes, walked a mile in your boots, that understands what you know, and maybe even walked a little further, that maybe can impart some wisdom. I can guarantee that it might be hilarious because I'll probably smoke a cigar when we're talking. But yeah, find somebody to talk to. Don't keep it bottled in.
Yeah, that's very good advice. And like I said, for anybody who's listening, Mike would give us all his class, and he would share his experiences with us when we went to Refresher. And I actually listened, and it helped me go out and just get some help. It's like, well, damn, if Mike did it, then I think I'm better than Mike. Right? It's like that old Gatorade commercial. It's like, no, I want to be like Mike,
Yeah,
right? Be like Mike, right? Like he went, got help, and then I am too. I'm going to go do that.
yeah.
Uh, so for my
Thank you
shout
for
outs,
asking me on.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want to give my shout out. So I won this raffle, right, for this Ruger rifle.
Oh, nice.
Um, so I want to shout out Carolina Sluggers. They're a little league team out here in like Fuquay, the Dunn area.
Nice.
Because I don't know what they're teaching those kids, but the day that little boy came to my house, it was raining. It was pouring, right? I don't usually answer my door, but I walked up because he rang the door twice. So I looked through the people. I was like, that's not an adult. So I opened the door and it was like, what are you doing? Like, would you like to buy a raffle for my little league? And it's like, sweet Jesus, it's pouring. And his father's following him in the truck. Good on his father, right? To make sure that nothing
Yeah,
happens to his son.
absolutely.
And so he had like two left, so bought the raffle tickets. It's like, no, please go away. But just seeing his dedication to his team and his perseverance to make sure that he sold all of those tickets.
Yeah,
And it's like, I didn't want to open the door because it was raining so hard.
yeah.
And this young man's out there. So for Carolina Sluggers, thank you for, I guess, awarding me this prize. When I'm going to go pick it up tomorrow, and I want to donate something to them. I don't know if they need titanium bats or platinum bats, but I don't know
Yeah,
if there's some laser guided bat or baseballs that I can buy and get them. Whatever, right? I haven't played
yeah,
baseball in decades.
yeah.
But whatever they're doing out there, they're doing something right, because those kids are that. I wish every kid was like that kid.
That's awesome, though. Yeah, because I'd be in the same boat. Pouring rain, probably not going to open the door, especially looking out and saying, "Oh wait, probably you probably barely saw his head because he was
Yeah.
so short." It's like, okay, now I got to open the door because I would make sure this kid's okay outside in the pouring rain.
I think he figured it out by the time he got to my house. He realized he had to take a couple of steps back,
Oh, okay,
so I could
got
see
you.
his face.
Well, like you said, that's amazing amount of dedication to him and to his team, and good on his dad for supporting him too.
Yeah. So, Mike, again, thanks for being on. You're a wealth of wisdom. You have a great deal of knowledge. I know, guys, people will benefit from this, because I know there are quite a few people who went through Refresher and who
Hmm.
benefited from that.
Well, thank you for having me. It was fun.
So just remember, if you're out there, you're transitioning out, just remember you have something that makes you special. Something. I'm not sure what it is, but you know what it is. Identify it, maximize it to its fullest potential. I know you'll be successful. Until next time, Zot, 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 and roll tide.